How my dad gave me PTSD. My dad blessed me with a wonderful gift called PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a very traumatic experience that you experience in life that now creates triggers and a flashback scenario. And breaking free of PTSD isn't letting go of the memories, it's getting the memories to let go of you. My dad sliced his throat, his wrist, put a knife in his chest, killed himself inside his car, bled out inside his car. And going into that car is what blessed me with PTSD. And I want to share that experience with you because I'm very open about these topics and I think it's important to share. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe button. What's up, guys? My name is Eric. I'm a recovering cocaine and alcoholic addict. I'm diagnosed with ADHD, PTSD, GAD, and MDD. Those are my diagnoses. I lost a wife and a father to suicide. I attempted suicide. And this is really about my dad's suicide and how I ended up with PTSD from it, because people don't realize, especially when it comes to suicide. I mean, I get it. I've been there before. You're at a dark place. You just want all this stuff to end. And then you're at a selfish place. You are at a place where it's about you, about ending this pain that you're going through. And I get that. I've been there. But ultimately, you don't realize how much of this pain you transfer to everybody else around you. You're thinking you're the problem, you're the burden. Everyone's life's better off without you, and it literally ruins everybody's life around you. It does. It sends waves. Instead of going and saying, dude, I'm struggling with this, and asking for help and begging for help and being vocal about the help, you feel that this is the way out. It's best for everybody, and guess what? Everybody ends up with all the damage left behind, and one of mine was PTSD. My dad committed suicide August 13th, 2017. My dad was a very successful doctor. I talked to him 2 days before he committed suicide, laughing on the phone. The last words I said to my dad was, I love you. And his last words to me were, I love you too. I'll talk to you soon. And I never talked to my dad again. That was the last time I'd ever talked to my dad. And I don't know if I would have changed any of that at all, looking back, if I would have said anything differently. Because I told him I loved him. And I know that he knew that. But Sunday, which was August 13th, he was supposed to go play golf with my brother. Had his golf bags and stuff in the car. He actually had a gun. He had an AR-15. I don't even know why my dad bought an AR-15. He was not a hunter, not a gun person whatsoever. And he had that in his car too. And my mom was packing him a lunch and put it in and saw that he had that. And she was like, what do you have this for? And I guess my dad was just kind of out of it, and he just did not look healthy. He looked just very removed from everything. And she packed him a lunch, put it in his car, and that was the last that she ever saw of him. And instead of going and playing golf, my dad drove past where they're supposed to play golf in Michigan and went to a Walmart, bought a paring knife. And my dad sliced both of his wrists, sliced his neck, and put it in his chest. And he was determined. And this is where my PTSD came from, is just the aftermath it left in his car. My dad had a Cadillac, and when all this was kind of settled a little bit and they were doing the autopsy and stuff, I flew up to Michigan, and my mom really wanted this car back, like trying to get her life like back together. Like, how do you put your life back together after someone commits suicide? I already lost my wife 2 years later, or 2 years before, to suicide, and then just like, how is this happening again? And so we get over to my brother's house where this car is, and my mom's like, I want to go look at. My sister-in-law was like really adamant, like, hey, don't go near the car, don't. There's a little bit of blood in the car. No one told anybody like how my dad died at the time. So I walk up to the car. I finally was like, I looked at my sister-in-law and I was like, if you don't let me go, my mom's gonna go. I'd rather go than her. I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that my brother never saw this. So we walk up to this car, and I give her credit, man. She had parked the car down a ways, put a blanket and stuff all over the seats. She's like, I got to prepare you. There's a little bit more than just a little bit of blood. I was like, oh, okay. No. And so as we're walking up to the car, I'm looking in the back window, and there's leather seats in this Cadillac. And where the seat back and the seat connect, blood had dripped through it and coagulated. So, and I never even realized this, like blood, like kind of like hardens, like not like icicles, but like it looks kind of like that. And I'm looking, there's a puddle of blood in this back seat on the floor mats, because they had rubber floor mats. My parents always put that in their cars. She opens up the door, and the smell of iron. That's all I remember, is this strong smell of iron. Just hits you like a wave. And she pulls this blanket off, and it comes even stronger. And I look around and it is blood everywhere. There's puddle of blood in his cup holders, all over the floor. The seat has a big puddle of blood in it. There's blood all along the side. And there's blood everywhere. And you could almost just feel the anger and the hatred in this car. And just staring at this. And I can vividly tell you where the sun was, to how the trees had hit on the car, to the shadows, to the shading, to the smell, to how it tasted. You could taste the iron in the air. And all of this. And opening up the other door and like having the one door open behind, just trying to let it air out and going, this isn't a little bit of blood, like that my mom can't touch this car. And on the seat next to where he did it is a Walmart bag with a paring knife package ripped open. And then on the floor is his wedding ring, is his doctor ring from his graduation for being a doctor. He had a Michigan State doctoral ring. His watch, his necklace, all on the floor. And all I can picture is my dad like sitting in that chair just throwing this crap on the floor. And that's my PTSD trigger, is the smell of blood. I shave my head, so when I cut my head and I smell that blood, I see my dad's bloody car every single time. I smell it, I feel it, I see it. You're living in this memory that's not going away. And it haunts you. Because all it does is remind you of how your dad killed himself, how he wasn't happy, how you weren't enough, how nobody was enough, how did we miss this? It just brings back all of this. And this is one of the things that happens when you commit suicide. And again, I'm open on this subject, and I always have been, because I don't think people realize that. I think we get so selfish. I know I was, at least. You get so selfishly wrapped up in your head that you want your pain to stop, that you don't realize the pain that you're going to give everybody else real quick. And that is reality. I mean, that is mental illness, depression, all that right there. And it's sad, because I know, just like with me, I know that my dad was like, they knew I was struggling. I had reached out for help. I know that, because I was the same way. You know, we think everyone's reading our minds, and we think us asking for help in these little innuendos in this, somebody's Jedi mind trick is going to read our brain and be like, oh, you're actually truly suicidal. Somebody's going to look and do that and get us help, and they don't. Which then we use that almost to self-sabotage ourselves, to push us further of, see, nobody does care. And I can tell you this, as a son who lost his dad, you have somebody in your life that cares. You have somebody in your life who loves you. And you have somebody in your life who wants you here still. And all I can say is, if you are truly struggling, get help. Check yourself into a mental health rehab. Get yourself to the hospital. Beg and scream for help, because you're not, even though your brain's telling you that you are. And what you're going through, it is painful. It won't last forever. And as a son who would have done anything for my dad, I can tell you this, I would have did anything for him. I would do anything to have just another day with him. You might think the whole world's against you, and it's not. You're loved more than you know. Your brain's just not letting you see that. I share about this stuff. I share my testimony just so that people know that they're not alone, to know that it does get better. So reach out for help. Hit that like and follow button. Comment down below. And for the ones struggling, I believe in you. It will get better.